Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation. I have my guests in the building, Bridgette Graham and Charity Howard. How are y'all doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, y'all are kind of a conversation right now on Instagram. You know, thanks to the conference that's coming down the pipeline soon. So I definitely want to speak about that tonight. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of everything, speak to us about who you are and how y'all found yourselves in cannabis.
You go first.
Me? Okay.
It's like y'all was gonna flip a coin.
I know, right? So again, I'm Charity Howard. How I found myself in cannabis. So I am a food scientist by trade, and I specialize in product concept to development launch. So meaning formulations, product development, research and development, all of that. So Bridgette was looking for someone else that had that expertise to join her team, which is, again, a group of Black women scientists, so that we can, longer term, get together what we need for our plans in Georgia.
That sounds like some Avengers shit. It's just like a bunch of Black women scientists. Like, what are y'all about to do? Y'all want to take down Thanos?
Exactly. So that has brought me into this section of cannabis. Now, I will say I lived in Miami before I moved to Atlanta.
Okay.
And I was very involved in local politics, supporting the Young Democrats. Now, that said, I always followed the laws and the criminalization of cannabis, which I never really always paid attention to, but never agreed with.
Okay.
So that, if nothing else, got the passion for our community, especially on what's happening in cannabis as it relates to us and how we are the disenfranchised group, but always criminalized for it.
Okay. And how about you, Bridgette?
Well, I am a environmental scientist. I've been doing that for about 20 years plus, and I've looked into the cannabis industry, and I figured out that it's the same science. And so, being that closely related, I figured that there's a way to help bring legitimacy to the industry.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do is kind of see what kind of laws were already in place, and I saw that it was like the Wild Wild West, and so I just kind of, it's like, this can't be, and I said there's already a path to making this easy, and they're just making it really hard. And so what I did was I started researching and figured that we could do a lot more good to help bring legitimacy to the industry by creating products that, or helping people to have a standard. So that's what I want to do as far as like bringing in legitimacy to the industry. So let's see what else. I work in, I can't really say where I work because of what.
Because you're an Avenger.
That's exactly.
I understand.
But,
Yeah.
I supervise a drinking water laboratory. I just make sure nobody dies, from drinking water.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so we just, I just know that there's quality control people. I mean, I just look at all the other states that are into the industry, and I just figured, oh my God, people can get sick because people don't have the standards, and so just getting things from the corner store and not having the right quality control or analytical data to back up what you have in your hand, whether you're self-medicating or if you're buying from the store. I just want people to be safe.
Yeah.
And so I looked at the conventions, and I was like, wow, there's not been a convention here in Georgia. We have a lot of panels, and those are amazing, they're great, but I just wanted to bring the component to everyone that wants to get into the industry to have access to the network, the education, and just to kind of know how to get started, because I saw that it was coming last year, so I just started putting it together. I'm an event planner too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another part of her Avenger skill set.
Yes.
She's also an event planner. So you two came together, and I assume that's how Organic Analytics came about.
No,
Okay.
I started that last year. I was looking for a formulation chemist about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, I started Organic Analytics last year about August. And we Well, I just started making the plans. I started organizing and calling people to see if there was an interest or if people would actually come. We could get some quality speakers from out of the state, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And yeah, so I looked for a location, got a location, started putting a team together, and here we are.
Got it. All right, so let's talk about the event. You know, the Southeastern 2019 Hemp and Medical Cannabis Convention. That was a lot to memorize. So I had to write that down several times. Yeah, look.
That's good.
I practice. I do this. So that's coming up in July. Speak to us about the event, because like you said, we don't have a lot of conferences come to Georgia prior to this, you know, because you talk about Wild Wild West. Our whole state is Wild Wild West when it comes to weed, CBD, and all that. So I see it's not a shock why a lot of conferences didn't come. But what made you want to step out and be that one?
I didn't really think about it as me being the one. It's just okay. The other component is my niece is she's going through her healing journey with chemo cancer. So that's the reason I got my hair chopped off. But I just saw how amazing the difference between cannabis versus Percocet or Oxycontin or whatever the doctors prescribe for the pain after chemo.
Yeah.
So I was just sold on that, and I just really wanted to do something to help. Once I saw how much people needed to come together, I just started looking at the laws. I was like, okay, this is about to happen. Just kind of foresight and just looking at what all the work that all the advocates and the groups have done, and just kind of saw where it was going.
Yeah.
And I think too with Georgia and the South in particular, I mean, we're an agricultural state, right?
Yeah.
And there's plenty of opportunity there. It's just a matter of the awareness and letting people know, whether it be, you know, the hemp side of it or the medical marijuana side, and avenues to get in that, especially as it relates to the minority community.
Yeah.
I come from a long line of farmers, and once Trump signed the farm bill into legislation last year, I was like, it's a done deal. It's going to be crazy. People are going to be trying to figure this out, and I just want them to do it right. Have some rules. Yeah, I'm that person.
So you stepped out, and we have this amazing conference coming to the area in July. Speak to us about why somebody would want to go to the event. Like, what are some of the panels that would draw somebody in, or the panelists?
Well, it's comprised of 4 different. Well, we have panels, like the Veterans PTSD panel. We're considering a PTSD for laymen, just anyone else, because most people don't realize they have PTSD. They're just kind of segregated for the veterans, but there's a lot of people dealing with trauma that they're not dealing with. And self-medicating, with other things. So we have a CTE panel for athletes, and we have a patient panel, and there will be one more, but as a team, we're going to discuss it Sunday. So, what else? Oh, we have 4 breakout sessions. You want to talk about the breakout sessions?
Yeah, so the breakout sessions consist of targeting women in cannabis. We have a section on business, legislation, science, and what is the other one?
Legislative, business, science, and medicine.
Medicine.
And then the breakout sessions are the 2 luncheons are that's the other one is she already talked about the women in cannabis, but we're also going to have one, just a networking event, just so you can get close to the experts, the people that are growing or whatever.
And ask them specific questions, as it relates to the business.
Right.
So.
That's great. So who are some of the panelists? Like, I did see Dr. Uma was on there. I'm dying to meet her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw Dr. Uma was going to be one of the panelists. Who are some of the other people who are going to be speaking during the conference?
We have Jason Allen, a former NFL player, as well as Turk McBride. They're going to be on the CTE panel. And let's see, Dr. Betty Wedman. She's very, if you like Dr. Uma, you're going to like her too. She's really good. And we have, Oh goodness.
Hope
many.
Wiseman.
Oh yes.
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 Oh, yeah.
It's
So she's the youngest
Dispensary
owner in the U.S.
It's about 30 of them, so I'll just kind
Yeah, there are several speakers we have. Good content, good diverse
We
content.
can go over some of the ones from the local ones.
Okay.
We have Stanley. He's going to be on the panel. Sebastian Cote.
Yes.
Yes. And then we have
Life.
yeah, he is local now.
Yeah.
Life Griffith and let's see. Yes, a lot of them.
Yes, several. We're still getting some too.
Dr. Winkler, he's a scientist. He works for SciEx. It's a instrumentation. Well, this is what I do kind of every day. How you analyze the pesticides. They actually specialize how to run the instrumentation, how to actually. You can actually see. I think they do the not only the pesticides because I think it's a HP. I won't get too technical.
No, you good. I've had Franz on here, but I don't know if you know Franz from Therasol on here. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
Franz came down here with his Georgia Tech everything and threw it at us. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so sometimes, we have the pharmaceutical. Well, you can actually determine what the levels are, the THC, and we also have a Dr. Sharif. That instrument, once the farm bill was passed, I was like, wow, it's going to be a lot of people getting profiled, pulled over. So you're going to need something to really distinguish. So I started researching to see if there was something on the market that you could actually identify for certain that it's not cannabis, weed.
Difference between hemp and cannabis.
Yes, not just the THC levels. I just wanted to make sure that nobody went to prison for nothing. And so they actually created this instrument that actually goes down to the molecular level, so you can actually see that this is definitely cannabis versus weed. And let's see what else.
We'll also have students that are doing research and on cannabis and hemp. So we'll have a poster session where they can exhibit all of their research and network, and as they're possibly looking to go into the industry, learn more. So that'll be a good part of it.
Yeah, and that's another thing. We and also scientific laboratories and research companies are going to participate in that. We actually have one that's local, which I didn't know. I was pleasantly surprised, and they're called Sorbtech. Amazing. So the issue that they're having in California about the pesticides, things that's already being
Turning up left and right.
And they're getting in trouble and they can't actually sell the product and it has to sit there. So they have this really cool method, and they're going to present a paper also, but it cleans up the pesticides out of the extract so you can actually utilize it. That is major. It's a little bit pricey, but it's better than having your stuff on the shelf and you can't sell it.
You know what? I'm glad that y'all are putting together the event you're putting together, because after today, we're seeing hemp bills get passed. We're seeing medical bills getting passed.
Yep.
And the Thursday, we might see cultivation
That's
happening.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's
Like
right.
everything is happening at the exact right time.
Yeah, it is.
For Atlanta to shine as it should shine. You know what I'm saying? In places. When you were putting together the event, what were some of the worries that you did have initially? Because again, we don't have too many of these events come through here, and the ones we did have, they weren't successful, just long story short about it. What were some of your worries initially going into this about putting together the event?
Only worry I had was, could I do it? And then once I found out I could do it, I was like, oh, okay, that's it.
I really feel like you got in touch with Black Panther and said, "Can we do this? Like, where do we meet up at? Call Iron Man. We got to roll." But that's amazing. But so, how do you? And also speaking about some of the changes we're seeing just in a week, you know what I'm saying?
It's been a lot.
In Georgia,
Yeah.
What are your feelings about some of the stuff you're seeing? Do you feel like we're moving in a proper pace, or even moving too fast, if any?
Well, let me just say this. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but the commissioner of the FDA resigned today abruptly.
Really?
Yes.
No,
he
I did not. You know what?
Scott. And so he was in a place to move CBD forward federally. he I'm sorry.
Okay.
He was a place to move. When a FDA law bill gets passed, it takes 2 to 3 years. So his obligation, or what he was trying to do at least, was speed this process up so that CBD could be used in commercial and conventional food and drinks. Don't know what's going to happen with that now, and that just happened today. There's a huge meeting in April to see how this goes federally, but you know, it's crazy how these things, to your point, all in a week can happen. But speaking to Georgia.
Yeah, speaking of Georgia, like, what are your feelings about what you are seeing? Do you feel like we are moving at appropriate pace, or are we moving what it seems to be like fast? Because I'll ask anybody who's known me. If you'd have asked me last year what I was seeing this year, I'd have said nah, and I'd take your money.
I kept telling people like that. People that were saying no, I was like, yes, we will. We're gonna do this, and it'll be in the next 2 years.
Yeah, you were one of the people trying to convince me, because I was like, I'm down at the state capitol. I'm looking at these people. I'm like, why do I just feel like I keep every person I walk by? It's like, I don't know. I don't get the vibe that y'all are cool with this just yet.
It's okay. You just have to convince them. Sometimes they need the help.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you need to give them a proper image of what this shit look like. You know what I'm saying? And then people get more okay with everything. Yeah,
Right.
And that part, and definitely that part.
But I think bigger than anything, you know, as far as where it's moving and my thoughts on that, I just hope that wherever it moves, that our community, Black and Brown, is represented, and there is a space carved out for us, because again, with being heavy users, you know, with these products, we need to definitely have a voice and a vision there, as it relates to everything that will happen, whether it be growing, whether it be dispensing. Maryland has things in place where women, disenfranchised groups, and minorities, blacks, get a certain amount of licenses as it relates to growing. You know, they're a little bit more progressive than we are. So it would be great if we saw something along those lines, so that, again, we are represented. Yeah,
and those are conversations that need to happen now.
Yeah, they do need to happen right now.
Yeah, happen right this second. And, you know, I'm blessed to also know that I do know brothers who do make sure these conversations are had. You know,
right.
I got caught in a room a little while ago. Matter of fact, it was me, Stanley, and Chris Brown, and I'm sitting there looking at them like, man, I give y'all so much props for being able to do this every single day. You know, like, it takes another level. But yeah, we got people down there trying to have those conversations now, so it's a blessing. But I feel like we're walking into a space that I feel like a lot of us, people of color, when I say a lot of us, are not overly prepared for in Georgia right now.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I really feel like something like this is needed, because we need to start having not only conversations on that level as far as the conferences, but have a trickle down about it. You know what I mean? To where it's just a normal conversation. Like, if somebody could ask me what kind of beer I like drinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, make it to that normal of a conversation.
And again, get in the space. There's so much entrepreneurial space.
Oh, and there's so much you can do that doesn't involve you having to have a license to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where we need to start also. Well, we are thinking that. Start thinking on
Williams. That's why I wanted to have a convention. I wanted people of color, just to be real frank, to think outside of selling and growing.
Yes.
There's a gazillion things to do within this industry. Like, I was telling somebody made the scissors to trim. Did you ever think about that?
No. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that.
This bottle, right? Yeah. You think about the container and what's in it, but somebody different made this top, the label, even the print. Those are all different entities that came together to make this one product, and there are billions of dollars to be made. And you can do. Some people are kind of stuck on the thing like, oh, it has to be nonprofit. I'm all for helping people, because all I do is serve. But as far as you can just do more when you have money to further causes, like,
of course.
Yeah. And so as far as like my perspective of where we are, is like, we're going fast. Yeah, but I don't think I think some things. I'm glad that Stanley and Chris were there down there, and the Black Caucus. They're working with them, and I'm hopeful. Did you see the hearing today?
I did not see the hearing today. I'm planning to go down Thursday. I was trapped in the office today. Yeah, but I
check it out online. think it's publicized.
Yep.
Maybe, but it was really interesting, and hopefully, you know, once it goes back to the Senate to be voted on,
Yeah, this has been a roller coaster week already. It's Tuesday, man.
yeah.
Don't do this to my nerves.
But please go down and now that we're talking about, please go out and come down to the Capitol. Go down there to support. I mean, try to lobby if you can. You might not have as much time with them. I spoke to Stanley, and I kind of reached out to some people that I know that do this every day. And ask, like, hey, is it anything that we need to tell the people that might be your audience? And if you can't go down there to lobby, maybe do contact your senator or your representative in your state. Email them, tell them, you know, why not just tell them the reasons that you believe that it should be legalized, not just not the legal marijuana. We know that that's not going to pass right now.
No.
Baby steps. We are in Georgia, people.
Right.
So make sure that we stick to the topic of medicinal marijuana and wanting to help the people, you know, because it's a lot of people that it's going to help. I met with some of the children that have been affected. It's heartbreaking. It's just like, wow. And knowing people that it actually helps, it's going to be a really good thing. So support it. Reach out. So.
That's amazing, man. Well, I'm definitely a supporter of the event and everything that's going on. I'd love to be part of it in any way, shape, or form. What y'all got for me?
We got space for you.
What y'all got for me, man? What y'all got?
Local Black media, we have space for you.
Oh, that's dope. That's dope, man. That's dope. Media does matter. Thank you.
It does.
Media does matter. Well, I'm definitely excited for the event. Like you say, there's amazing panelists from Hope Wiseman to Dr. Uma, who I just want to get an autograph from.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's amazing. That's 12-page resume. I was like, wow.
Yes.
She said, "Yo, what now?"
Her resume is like pages.
Yes.
Look, I did an interview with her once, and I was talking, and I just shut up. I remember just, you know what I mean? I remember just shut up. There's like this long pause where I'm just listening to her talk, and she was just going and going and going. And I was like, I don't even know if I stopped this. Yeah, she's amazing. So I look forward to all that. If somebody wanted to get involved with the conference, like say like they wanted to volunteer or anything like that, are those spaces available as well where people can actually get involved, say on that level of helping out?
Yes, we have volunteer slots for the day of course, and if you want to, if you have time to volunteer during the week, please contact me. We'll see what we can do.
All right, and if somebody wanted to join the Avengers, like how you got a cheat code for that?
We have very special skills on the Avengers team here. We have Bridgette, who's the environmental scientist.
Yep.
We have a chemist. We have a cardiac thoracic surgeon, and then myself, who's the food scientist.
Well, yeah.
So all of us in our special niche make up this Avengers team.
That's
Well,
amazing.
we actually have two chemists.
Two chemists.
I like to brag, though. That was a humble brag, too.
A little bit. This is Black Girl STEM, coming together to break the space.
Serious. Flip your hair on that one. That was lit. I like that. But I'm definitely, like I said, I'm a fan, and I think the event is going to go well. It's something that is 100% needed right now. We need to not only just catch up on the basics. We need to understand why we need to participate in this, and even your presence alone, the fact that y'all are coming from such wide backgrounds, showing that you don't necessarily have to be weed 100% of your day.
That's right.
in order to be a help or be something that could push forward this industry.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll have investors speaking on how to possibly get your cause funded. We're looking for the blockchain component, stocks, and also we have a speaker that just came on board. His name is Philip Northcutt, and he's out of I think it's Las Vegas, and they have about over 4,000 acres of hemp, and they actually it's called Sierra Hemp Gold Hemp, and it's a really amazing company. I can't wait to hear him. He's gonna be fire.
All right, I'm geeked, man. I went to the MJ BizCon a couple of times.
Well, you already know.
Yeah, I went to MJ BizCon, so I'm ready to not have to go out of state.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's another positive about that. What we're watching in Georgia is now I don't have to leave the state in order to do so many things.
That's right.
You know what I mean? As far as like get involved in organizations or learn anything about what's happening, we can now do it homegrown.
Right.
Right. I want everybody to have that experience. I want everybody that's that decides to be a part of it, whether you're an exhibitor or a speaker or a
Vendor,
attender,
sponsor,
attendee,
yep.
Yeah.
I just want everybody to have a good experience and get what they came for. If you came to get started and get you a network, I want you to have, if you're trying to get if you wanted to start a security company, not very many people are in that space. I'm just giving somebody, throwing some little nuggets, but they're,
We advocate for that over here. I told we also have a lot of rappers who come through here, and I often tell folks, a lot of your friends you just pull from off the streets. You know how much money gets moved, you know what I'm saying, in some of these states? Like, why don't y'all put them to work? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of being weed handlers, like, they literally are holding your weed all day. Let them hold somebody else's or let them hold somebody's money and take it to the bank for them.
Right.
well, not just on that aspect, but that's a very good point. But I mean, that's very good. And I was talking about that, but more so, have you ever thought about, like, say you got you have a couple of acres and you're outside grow, you need to have safety, security surrounding that.
True.
You got drones, people flying over, contaminating crops, and you didn't even
In
put
competition.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You need vaults and cybersecurity. It's just that's a large space that because we're researching and looking for people to come to the convention. There's not a lot in that space.
No, I believe it because most people don't think outside that box. Like I told when I first started this podcast, like I'm a journalist by trade. Like I've been a writer since 2005. When I first started this, I was having conversations with some of my friends at rap publications, like editors, and I was saying, "Yo, I got this dope interview I just did. Can you post on your site?" And the first thing that came out their mouths was, "We can't do anything that involves weed."
See.
And I'm like, "But you got Wiz Khalifa literally on your homepage with a blunt in his mouth.
Right.
Like, what is the difference? What is the difference?
But see, it's
people
just
don't think that level.
They don't think that level, and even just that stigma. Because, like I said, being in the food industry, I've worked for some large brands, and the halos now is like going to health halos. So you got your turmeric, you got your ginger, and all that. But the CBD is hands off, just because of commercialized food, just because of the stigma. There's so much opportunity there, and I myself had looked into some things a couple years ago, but just can't fade until this awareness, this education, and these laws are lifted so that we can move this about.
You'd be surprised at some of the large names. They're ready.
They're ready.
Oh,
My client now is
I don't want to get into a lawsuit
they're
or anything.
it's all
absolutely
good. I'm
ready.
not gonna get into Avenger business. I know my lane. Trust me, I know my lane, man.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping over there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are ready. They've already done research.
They
They
have.
have products, and
They're starting
ready.
in Canada. They're ready. We know for sure.
Yeah.
So what's next for organic analytics? And again, thank you for giving us such a word. What's next for organic analytics?
Well, I had to put some thought into it because somebody stole my short name. It was going to be UCAN. That was Universal Cannabis. So.
Oh, that's an easy one. Low hanging fruit, man. We gotta stop going for low hanging fruit. Yeah, give them organic analytics.
Yeah, well,
Make up that.
Yeah, the product to be organic
Yep.
and analytical because I'm an analytical scientist. But what do you look over there?
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I keep looking. No, I keep looking. Go.
Season. But no, what is next after this? As far as the conventions are concerned, we do plan on having a convention next year here, of course, but definitely in another state that is legalized for recreational, so it can be the full experience of the convention, and we'll have one. It'll be 2 to 3 next year, and it'll hopefully grow, but by that time we hope that it will be fully legalized and just be educational. But I do plan on opening, whether it be Georgia or other states. Not sure where we'll start first, but laboratories and analytical laboratories, research and development, as well as a grow facility, clean house grow, as manufacturing, extractions. Let's see, and some other stuff I can't really put out there yet because I haven't told anybody yet. So.
It's all good. It's tucked in Wakanda somewhere.
So vertically integrated Black business.
Hey, you speaking my language. You speaking my language. Well, thank you very much for coming out. I want y'all to let you know before we close out, how can somebody get information about the conference? Our ticket, are you able to register right now? Or
Yes.
how can they get registered? All the information that people would need in order to get involved.
So you can go online, www.organicanalytics.com. Tickets are available there, information about vending, information about sponsoring, information about presenting posters, schedule, speakers, speaker bios, all of that is available there.
And if you, and also those tickets, do you think we should tell them about the tickets being separated? No.
No.
Oops, see it.
I love it. Well, thank you very much, ladies, for coming through. I can't wait to go. And thank you for allowing me to be
can't wait
part
to
of
have
it. And thank you for coming through the show tonight.
Thank you for having
Awesome.
us.
Thank you.
No
We
problem.
encourage everyone to come. We look forward to see you. In Georgia, all of the Southeast. We have people coming from Tennessee, Mississippi, all over. So bring it to Atlanta.
Bring it to Atlanta, man. And that's Cash Color Cannabis, a high level of conversation.